Hello and welcome back to Studio Session. I'm Katherine and thank you so much for tuning in to another episode. I'm so sorry that we could not get an episode out for this Wednesday. Unfortunately, on Tuesday when we would have filmed the episode, we had a snow day, so we could not come in and record. But we are back and better than ever. So getting started with our report. For reading, I love the Goodreads app, and I think it's so fun that you can see the books that your friends on the app put on their want to read list. So I have definitely added a bunch to my want to read list from theirs. I don't know, I just think it's a really cute feature. For eating, I have recently discovered strawberry cream cheese from Dunkin' Donuts. You can put it on the bagels, and it is so good. And I just love it, especially because it's pink. It's just I don't know, it's extra fun. It tastes so good. For playing, I've been loving Phoebe Bridgers' music. She's just so talented, such an emotional singer. I love her so much. For obsessing, I love coloring. It is just so therapeutic. For Christmas, I got coloring books and a nice new set of markers, and it is just so relaxing. You could have music or a TV show playing in the background. I don't know, I just think it's so calming to just color. For recommending, I recommend that you sell your old clothes. I recently have listed a bunch of stuff on Depop and Poshmark, and I was maybe people will buy it, but people are actually buying my old stuff, so it's just nice to make a little bit of money back. And for treating, yesterday was Valentine's Day, and me and my friends went out to dinner for a little Galentine celebration, so I just thought that was a cute little way to treat myself. That's it for today's report, and let's get started with our main segment. I'm joined with Lucas for our main segment, and today's pop album review is Doo-Wops and Hooligans by Bruno Mars. I love this album so much. I already was familiar with a majority of the songs, but I didn't realize they kind of all came from the same album, so just listening to them all together was just kind of full circle. This is a great album. Okay, so my favorite on the album, I gave it to Grenade. The opener, it's just such an iconic song. Everyone knows it, everyone loves it. You can just feel the emotion through the lyrics. I think it's a good song. You can scream, sing it. You can cry to it, but you can also listen to it when you're happy. I don't know. I just feel it's good for any mood. So Grenade is my favorite on this album.
I picked Marry You for my favorite on this album. Definitely a radio banger, but nonetheless an exceptional piece of art by Bruno Mars here. Just a great, really upbeat song. Gets people going, We've definitely referenced it on this podcast before. I just think it's the biggest, kind of the climax of this album being right in the middle as well. And it's for me over the years, I think it's cemented itself as the top song on this album.
I definitely agree because that is my second favorite on the album. I did choose Marry You for my second pick. This is just such a cute song. I love the song so much. It kind of tells a story through the verses, but there's also just a really strong, iconic chorus. I don't know. It's just so cute. It's upbeat, and Marry You is definitely my second favorite on the album.
For my second most favorite, I picked Just the Way You Are. Right at the start of the album, and it kind of paves the way for what's to follow. There's definitely a ton of great songs, and this soft rock element to this, it's kind of like a ballad almost. Just a great love song overall, very fitting to the timing, and this is just another classic from Bruno Mars here.
Okay, so for my least favorite on the album, originally, when I gave this album the first listen through, I said that Liquor Store Blues was my least favorite, but I don't really agree with that anymore because after kind of rediscovering this album, I've been listening to it a lot, so I actually really like this song now. But what I had written down for why I originally didn't like it was I didn't love the feature, but I liked the song overall. And I said that it's kind of hard for me to love songs that I wasn't really familiar with. So many of these songs I had grew up with, listened to all the time, but I did not know this one before giving it a full listen through. So because of that, it was kind of harder for me to be oh yeah, this one's one of my favorites. But after listening to it, I definitely can appreciate it more. Now I'd probably give my least favorite to maybe Our First Time, or maybe the Lazy Song. I don't know, just not very lyrically strong there. But Liquor Store Blues was originally my least favorite, but I don't think I would consider it my least favorite anymore.
I said that the Lazy Song is my least favorite song. I really just don't like it. It's not that it's annoying, but it's just I don't get it. Especially based on the fact that it's followed by Marry You and Talking to the Moon. I feel it's kind of like an interlude, But at the same time, I'm not quite sure what the interlude is too, because the gap between Runaway Baby and Marry You, I would have just preferred that a better song be put in there. This, not to say that it's a lazy effort, but it's just not my favorite on this album.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that one. Okay, my underrated song, I gave it to The Other Side. I just don't hear people talking about this song. It's one that, again, I wasn't really familiar with before. So it wasn't like one of my all-time favorites on this album, but I still really liked it. I just thought it was kind of like a unique song. And yeah, one I think deserves a little more recognition on this album. So The Other Side is my underrated pick for today.
I also picked The Other Side as my underrated pick for today. It's simple math with me, really. CeeLo Green feature raises any song exponentially in my eyes. So to have this wrapping up the album, I felt was very fitting and complemented the tracks surrounding it.
That leads us to our overall album ranking, and this album got a 9 out of 10 for me, which you guys know I'm usually a little bit of a stickler with my ratings, so a 9 out of 10 is amazing. This is one of the highest ranked albums that we have done so far for me. I noted that I actually added this to my Apple Music library album. I don't know how to describe it, but usually I just add albums to my playlist. I just add the full album to a playlist or specific songs. But when there's an album I really like, I'll just add it to my actual library. That way I can easily find just my favorite albums. So I did add this one to my library, which just shows that that's impressive because only very few albums get added to my library. I liked pretty much every song and I loved most of the songs. And yeah, there's just so many throwbacks. This is insane for Bruno Mars's first studio album. There's just so many crazy good songs. Yeah, I think as an artist, Bruno Mars is just so underrated. I feel like everyone knows and loves him, but not many people would be like, oh yeah, he's my favorite artist of all time. But I think he deserves more credit. I think he's amazing, and I think he's definitely one of my favorite artists too. This kind of made me realize that. So an amazing album overall.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Bruno Mars is one of the more talented, and the fact that he came onto the scene with this is all the more impressive. I was watching a video essay about a person we'll be talking about later in the episode, but it was talking about how they really just burst onto the scene and had an immediate, okay, this person knows what they're doing. I felt the same way with this album. I am different in the way that I download everything to my library, so I listened to 7 or 8 new albums this weekend, and I had they're on the library. I have playlists for a reason. For a second straight week after I don't think this happened for the first 13 episodes, I have a lower rating. I have an 8.5 on this one. Didn't really feel like it got to the 9 for me because there's just a couple songs like Our First Time, Lazy Song, Liquor Store Blues. So it's little so-so. But definitely a worthwhile project, and I would listen to it again, and I listened to it again after that.
An incredible album for today, and let's jump into our next segment. Okay, for our next segment, we are back with another Playlist Essentials, and giving a little nod to the Doo-Wops and Hooligans title, we decided to do songs with weird titles as our Playlist Essentials. These are songs that, I don't know, just have titles that either confused me a little bit, I thought were either funny or just a little strange. So in third place, I gave it to Amoeba, I hope I'm saying that right, by Clairo. An amoeba is a cell or a germ. So just the fact that Clairo named his song this is just kind of funny to me, especially because she doesn't actually say that word in the song. But I really like this song. It's definitely more of a softer, calm song. It's on my study playlist, but I think it also has some great lyrics. So even if I didn't just want it as background, I could really enjoy the song. But yeah, I just really like this song, but the title is a little weird.
Okay, honorable mentions, I have 2 of them. First, I have 8 parentheses Circle by Bon Iver. And then second, I have Palm Olive by Freddie Gibbs. I thought I might have mentioned that already, so I just left it off. For my third, I picked Mr. Polydactyl Cat by Levitation Room. This was a song on a Levitation Room album. They're an alternative psychedelic rock type group. And I listened to it this weekend. Pretty good album. I just picked this song out because I wanted to give a shout out to the project, and the name is obviously a little weird, so definitely good song, and I would suggest everyone go give this project a listen.
My second place pick is Fluorescent Adolescent by the Arctic Monkeys. I don't know. This is just weird. I mean, it rhymes, but what is a fluorescent adolescent? Like a teenager that's glowing? I don't know. I don't really get it. And again, I don't think the song actually says either of those words. So it's like, why is it called this? But I like this song. It's upbeat. It's kind of unique. A lot of the Arctic Monkey songs just kind of have that like unique, cool kind of vibe. This is definitely one of them. Yeah, nothing really much to say. I just enjoy this song, and I think it has a little bit of a weird name.
For my second pick, I picked Formaldehyde by Lloyd Banks featuring Benny the Butcher. Benny the Butcher has grown on me as a feature artist. I know that I'm a big fan as a regular artist, but this is just a good track. Lloyd Banks is a super underrated musician. He had a project come out recently called The Curse of the Inevitable, which was a really good lyrical album, and I can appreciate this song from it.
Okay, my top pick for songs with weird titles. I feel like this song title isn't as weird, but I gave it to Dinner and Diatribes by Hozier. A diatribe is like a jab at someone. I don't know. It was in our AP Lang textbook last year, so that's just how I know that. So the fact that that was in a title, I was like, oh, and pairing it with dinner. I don't know, interesting. But I'm a big Hozier fan, as you guys know, and this song I actually kind of like discovered recently. I just had like his station on Apple Music just on shuffle, and the song came on, and I was like, oh, this is a really good song. I think it's on his album Wasteland Baby. It's just, all of Hozier's songs are just so special. This is no exception. It's a great song. This song actually says the words dinner and diatribes in it, so I can kind of see where he's coming from there. But yeah, just a great song. Dinner and Diatribes was my top weird song pick.
Now, I can't guarantee that this is the best song mentioned, but I can definitely guarantee that this is the weirdest title. Coming in at number one, this is from the Andre 3000 Flute album. This one is called That Night in Hawaii When I Turned Into a Panther and Started Making These Low-Register Purring Tones That I Couldn't Control. Now, if you just got that, you might be wondering, okay, what is this? Let me put you on. It's like 10 minutes of just straight ambient music, good for studying, and I had to put this on the list because all of the song names on this album are absolutely ridiculous, and I figured it would be perfect to have it as number one on my playlist essentials.
This was definitely a really fun playlist essentials, but we are not done with our kind of like fun segment for today. We have something coming up, so let's jump into our next segment and you'll see what it is. Okay, so as a little bonus for today, we decided to do a halftime show recap. The Super Bowl was last Sunday, and this was a very interesting halftime show. Usher was the performer, so we're both just going to run through our thoughts. I thought it was mediocre overall, in my opinion. Usher's definitely a great dancer, though. I was very impressed by his dance moves. It just wasn't my favorite halftime show. I'm not really a football fan, so I did only come and watch the Super Bowl for the halftime show, and I was just expecting more. It felt kind of like chaotic and rushed overall. I don't know. Alicia Keys was just kind of a random feature. I was not expecting her at all. He did bring out Ludacris and Little John, I think his name is. Ludacris for the song Yeah, which everyone was kind of expecting. I know a lot of people wanted to bring out Justin Bieber. I'm pretty sure they have a song together. I think that kind of would have made it, if he brought out Justin Bieber, think that would have kind of made it come more full circle. And Usher did not play DJ Got Us Fallen in Love, which is one of my favorite songs by him. I think it's one of most people's favorite songs by him. Definitely one of his most well-known, like, hype party songs. So I'm really surprised he did not play that. But overall, I think it was solid. If I had to rate it, I'd give it like a 6 out of 10. Definitely not the worst. Not as bad as like Adam Levine's a couple years ago, but there's definitely been so many better ones. So I was a little disappointed by Usher this year.
Yeah, definitely agree, but I feel like they kind of set him up for failure. I remember when they announced it, I was like, okay, really? Like, what are we doing here? I can name like 3 Usher songs, and I think that's the problem you run into with guys like this. He's got the moves and he's a great singer, but I just feel like there was a couple better options that could have been selected, and the performance was a little lackluster. The first half of the game was pretty boring, I can't even lie, so I was expecting, okay, maybe we'll have a good halftime show to wake me up, but that didn't really happen. I gotta say, the thing with Alicia Keys was a little weird, because I think he got married after, if I heard that correctly. So I don't know, just a whole scene there. And when I saw Ludacris, I was like, oh, Ludacris is here. This was not the best halftime show for the lack of catalog. And the fact that he wouldn't, like Catherine said, he's not even playing one of his most well-known songs. I didn't really understand why he didn't play that one. And even if I don't know. I just feel like it was systemic failure by the NFL to put this guy on. No disrespect to Usher, but like last year we had Rihanna. If I'm not mistaken, the year before that we had like all the rappers like Kendrick and Dr. Dre and all those guys. So I just don't get it. I don't know. It's just the middle of the pack for me, if not lower. But what are you gonna do about it?
Yeah, Usher, not my favorite, but definitely not the worst either. All right, let's jump into our final segment of the day. We are back with our final segment of the day. So for what to expect next, unfortunately, next week is February break. We just keep getting cut off for these podcasts in the month of February. It's already the shortest month, and we just definitely keep running into scheduling issues. But yeah, next week we will not be able to film our usual 2 podcasts because of February break. But when we return from February break, you'll be getting a review of Blonde by Frank Ocean on that Wednesday. So definitely one to look forward to. All right, Lucas is going to be sharing his thoughts on a recent drop.
Okay, so listen. So as we all know, Kanye dropped on Saturday, which he should have dropped on Friday, but I kind of understand why he dropped Saturday because it was the 20th anniversary of his premiere album, The College Dropout, which this is what I was talking about with Bruno Mars. The College Dropout is kind of crazy in retrospect because it's like, wow, he came on the scene and just dropped this incredible album. So I was thinking, okay, might the album titled Vultures 1, because it is one of 3 albums like that's going to release in 3 months. Let's see if he holds true on that. I was like, maybe this is like a legacy project. Like, okay, hang on now. Similar to Jay-Z's 444, I was like, might this be a culmination of everything he's done? And man, if I have learned one thing as a Kanye fan, it's to kind of hold your expectations. You got to separate the art from the artist, I believe that, but that's just impossible to do with this album because there's just some obscure references directed at Jews and women at some points, which I know like people do that, but it's just like some of the things are just some of the lyrics are absurd, and I don't recommend you look that deep into them.
Oh yeah, didn't he like throw shade at Taylor Swift again?
Okay, he did not throw shade at Taylor Swift, I don't think. I know what you're talking about. He said since Taylor Swift. I think he's just talking about like since the time that happened. I don't think it was shade. I don't know. You know, I don't want to know, quite frankly, because I don't know. There's no point in starting beef with Taylor, as she is the most popular person on earth right now. Overall, this project kind of disappointed me. I was thoroughly impressed by the production, which is the worst part because the production is so good and the lyrics are just so awful. Kanye is beyond washed as a lyricist. Ty Dolla $ign, unfortunately, did his thing. So Kanye looks worse by comparison because Ty Dolla $ign had like his best performance on this album. And the production was good. And I just came to terms with the fact that this man is washed. Really, some really awful songs. So I did my own little album review for this. Most favorite, I gave it to Burn. This is just a heavenly 2-minute song, and I'm not going to go really far in any of these. Second most favorite is Paid for me. Least favorite, I can't go on this one, is Beg Forgiveness. There is a Chris Brown feature. I don't know why anyone is giving this man any sort of attention whatsoever. Get him off the album. I know Kanye is big into forgiveness. He had like DaBaby and Marilyn Manson on the same song in Donda. Just like, oh, let's get these people on the album. I don't get it. I don't like Chris Brown. Regardless, underrated. I had good parentheses, Don't Die. The last song on this album, for me, really is telling of the album, and it's King. And he basically is just talking in this song, and he says something along the lines of, they tried canceling me, but I'm still the king. Well, Kanye, if Donda sold 350,000 copies the first week, after releasing on a Sunday, so mind you, that's 5 days, and this is projected to sell 140, are you really still the king? That's what I'm wondering. Clearly not with these lyrics. I gave this a low 6, and that feels generous of me, just because the production was there. I'm thoroughly disappointed. Vultures 2 and Vultures 3 are coming. So maybe he'll improve, but I'm not really banking on it.
Wow, definitely a harsh album review. I might have to give that one a listen just to see what that's all about. So for upcoming album releases for this weekend, nothing too big. I think we found there's like a Jennifer Lopez album dropping, Jason Derulo, but nothing like super popular or noteworthy. But yeah, we hope that this kind of longer episode made up for our absence on Wednesday. Sorry, snow day. But thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.